So today, we're collecting data around the spine. So the spinal assessment's going to allow me to have data on the flexion extension. It's going to allow me to look at lateral flexion as well as rotation. It's going to give me a three-dimensional approach to be able to measure objectively the spine, so we can have some reliable data to track some of the interventions we're going to put in place in my programming and see if there is actually any need to address anything in the spine. So the difference between our spinal test and maybe some of the spinal assessments you've learnt previously is you can actually measure both the horizontal and the vertical component as well as the angular component using the mat, all three dimensions, having reliable, accurate data. Something that I really struggled with when I got out into practice was that traditionally how I'd assess the spine, I'd have a let someone bend forward, back, side to side, do some movements, and look, I'd see there'd be some restriction there. I thought there was maybe some restriction there, but I then go and do some great treatment and I think, I fixed it up there, they're much more mobile. I actually didn't have any objective data to be able to base that upon, and probably what we know now from some of the treatments, which you'll learn when you come to the course. But a lot of the time, a lot of the interventions we do, especially around the spine, don't last for very long at all. All right, so some of those manipulations, you think, wow, you can get some really quick changes. The full effects of those gone are really quickly. Do you know how long? Come to the course, find out. Let's have a look at my spine though. We're going to have a look at just spinal rotation today. Obviously, again, it's New Year's Day. Everyone else is hungover. Andrew's up in Sydney. He's looking at the fireworks over the harbour there. So I'm going to have a look at spinal rotation. And I've just got this pole here set up to measure the spinal rotation for me. So obviously, we're on the mat, which again allows us to measure that all-important transverse plane. And similar to what we just did with the hip internal rotation test, I'm going to work my way around until I can no longer touch that. Let's get into the limit there. So I'm looking at about 125 degrees on the spinal rotation test. I'm then going to swap sides and compare to the left. Okay, working my way around slowly, 10 degrees at a time, until the point where I can no longer touch it, which I can still do there. So I'm getting to about 145 going to that left side at the end, and I was only getting to about 115 degrees going to the right. And again, I know what you're thinking, similar to the hip internal rotation test. That's not spine rotation. I can see your foot moving, I can see your knee moving, I can see your hip moving, I can see your shoulders moving, everything's moving. But again, if I go up and I reach for something up here, if I go and throw a ball, it's not my spine moving in isolation, it's everything going together. And what's happening down at the foot can have a massive effect up through the spine. So we want to assess it in more upright and authentic type positions that'll give us some information. So there's a bit of a restriction there. We found about 30 degrees of restriction in rotation. That's something that we're going to be considering when I go and start to do my programming, which you guys will see in a couple of weeks. So make sure you tune in tomorrow. We're going to start to have a look at some shoulder assessments utilising the mat.